All right. So after the Renaissance, there were two major art movements. So one is the Baroque and the other one is the Rococo. So let's see one by one. The period of 17th and 18th centuries in Europe is called the Age of Kings. So some of the most powerful rulers in history occupied the thrones of various countries during this time. This same period could equally be called the Age of Colonial Settlement. The Spanish, the Portuguese, the Dutch, the English, and the French had established permanent settlements in North and South America. So the Baroque art was an art movement during the turbulent 17th and 18th centuries, and the Baroque art differs from that of the Renaissance. And Baroque art is full of emotion, energy, and movement. Let's see what it is. The colors are more vivid in Baroque art than in Renaissance, with greater contrast between art and between light and dark. Baroque art has been called dynamic, sometimes even theatrical. In architecture and sculpture, where the Renaissance sought a classic simplicity, the Baroque favored ornamentation as rich and complex as possible. So let's compare the Renaissance and the Baroque art styles. So let's see architecture style first. So the left one is the Renaissance and the right one is the Baroque. So can you find the difference between these two styles? Anything you can recognize?
More human figures.
Figures? What did you say?
Yeah, more human figures, or is it angelical figures?
Oh, okay, okay. The figures on the ceiling, the arch?
As in 3D or
Oh,
sculpture?
the 3D sculptures, yes, yes. Very ornate, yes. Anything else?
The perfocal.
Uh-huh. So the Renaissance architecture style shows
One proportion.
so the differences between the Renaissance architecture and the Baroque architecture style. Can you find the differences between these two styles?
This one is the Baroque.
Uh-huh.
It look like it look like pottery.
Uh-huh. Yes.
And then the other one, the Renaissance, is look like picture.
Uh-huh.
Something like this. So
Yes. So you mean the Baroque style is more active, right?
yes.
Yes, exactly. Very good. So the Renaissance architecture style shows simple and logical, but classical, right? On the other hand, the Baroque architecture style, ornamentational and sophisticated.
Exactly.
Yes. Very different.
Mm-hmm.
And now look at the sculptures. So the left one is Michelangelo's David Statue in the Renaissance era. And the right one is Gian Lorenzo Bernini's Saint Teresa in the Baroque era. So of course, these two sculptures are amazingly beautiful and reached the highest technique in the fine art. But the first feeling for these two sculptures are totally different.
It's
So
like they tell a story.
uh-huh.
The Baroque.
Yes, yes, that's right. And what else? What else can you find? Okay.
A dramatic story.
Yes, dramatic. Perfect. That's right. Very theatrical. Anyone else?
There's a lot more detail within like, well, I guess it would be like sheets or something. So
Yes.
they bring in more aspects, not just a physical person, but they also bring details into the sculptures.
Very good, Cynthia. Very good. So the Michelangelo's David shows the beauty of the balance, and it shows the ideal beauty. And it is very bright to celebrate the hero. And on the other hand, the Baroque sculpture on Saint Teresa is dramatic and even theatrical, and it shows heavy light contrast by locating the sculpture in the darkest spot and using window light from the top of the roof. So that is one of the features of the Baroque art. And let's see the painting.
Is that light that is placed on
Yes.
in addition to the sculpture?
Yes, yes, because they love the big highlight and dark shadow. So they place that spot. They place the sculpture in that spot. Isn't it interesting? So let's compare these paintings. So the left one is Raphael's The School of Athens in the Renaissance era. And the right one is the Peter Paul Rubens, The Raising of the Cross in the Baroque era. So can you see the difference? Very different, right?
The light and the the dark shadows again.
That's right. Very good.
Dynamic.
Very dynamic. Perfect. That's right.
And then the Renaissance is a little bit is lighter than this.
That's right.
The Baroque is like dark.
Uh-huh. That's right. Exactly. Perfect. How about the composition?
The composition.
The composition, except for the lighting.
They're moving more.
That's right. That's right. Perfect. So the Raphael's painting, the left one, the Renaissance one, is basically following perspective rule, the 1-point perspective rule. So which means it is very balanced and it is calm, peaceful, bright, and logical. On the other hand, Rubens' painting is focused on the subject, not really followed the perspective rule. And it shows deep contrast with the bright highlight and very dark shadow, and also the movement is dynamic, and the whole painting mood is very emotional. That's the difference. Very good, everyone. So to conclusion, the Renaissance art shows stillness, logicality, peace and calm, and classicism and brightness. And the Baroque art shows motion, emotion, turbulence, grandeur, and contrast. So now we are going to see two Baroque artists. So the first Baroque artist is Caravaggio Caravaggio was an Italian painter. His paintings combine a realistic observation of the human state, both physical and emotional, with the dramatic use of lighting. He's an amazing artist. You're gonna freak out. Ta-da! Yeah, wow. So he picked a painful moment when Jesus Christ got the crown. He is one of the most famous Baroque artists. So look at the beautiful light and the beautiful skin texture. He is an amazing artist, right? Yes, and except for the technique, the painting's emotion is also very realistic. So feels like we are in the middle of the painful moment, right? This is amazing. And this painting is about Saint Thomas checking Jesus' wound with a surprised, profound face. And this is Caravaggio's another biblical episode painting. Judith saved her people by seducing and beheading the Assyrian general Holofernes. And the same topic was depicted in the Renaissance era, which is the left painting. And Judith in the left painting looks very peaceful and calm. Yeah, it is hard to believe that she is after the battle. So she looks even elegant. And on the other hand,
Probably a decapitated head.
it doesn't look like the Holophant's head. It just looks like fake head, right? On the other hand, Caravaggio's painting is very dramatic and dynamic and realistic with the detailed description. So it is capturing the moment of the event. So it feels like we are in the middle of the event. And this is David with the head of Goliath by Caravaggio. And this same theme made by different era by Michelangelo. So even though Michelangelo and Caravaggio depicted the same David in their work of art, their Davids look totally different, right?
Professor, I have a question.
Yes.
Is there a known reason why the styles are so different? Is it like a lack of skills or lack of material or censoring? I think you said censoring of the church, or no?
Yes. So there are many reasons. So first reason is Michelangelo is from the Renaissance, right? So their style is very logical, and they always follow the balance and idealism, right? But the Baroque artists like Caravaggio followed the emotion and turbulence and grandeur thing, right? And they focused on the event, not the idealism. So their focus is different.
What brought that change about is what I'm trying to ask.
Can you say again?
What brought that change about? How come they changed styles?
Why they changed, or why they changed the medium, or why they changed the style, or
Just everything.
everything? Why they changed suddenly like that?
Yeah, 160 something years later.
It's just it's like 200 years later, and
They found some freedom to do different, more dramatic, more.
yes, art always change. Art always change, and they just want to make it make the art more dramatic.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. So the Michelangelo's David, let's just see the Davids. So Michelangelo's David is made as a hero, and he has an idealized body because he is a hero. And on the other hand, the Caravaggio's David doesn't have an ideal body. It's just depicted as a normal human. And also, Caravaggio shows the moment David took the Goliath's head with unpleasant feeling, and he focused on the event with the feeling, with the emotion, not the hero happening. And the next artist is Rembrandt. Rembrandt was a Dutch draftsman, painter, printmaker. He is generally considered one of the greatest visual artists in the history of art and the most important in Dutch art history. And this Rembrandt's largest and the most famous painting was made for one of 3 headquarters of Amsterdam's Civic Guard. And these groups of civilian soldiers defended the city from attack. Rembrandt was the first to paint all of the figures in a civic guard in action. And he has an excellent technique to capture a moment in his painting, like this wild sea in a storm, and feels like the rage of the sea. And he was very famous with his self-portrait style, and he settled the traditional portrait manner in terms of pose, light, and mood. And many of artists followed this portrait painting style. And there is a video about Rembrandt in the model room, so please watch it to see diverse his beautiful work of art. And the next art movement we are going to see is the Rococo. So the age of Rococo is a development and extension of the Baroque style. The term Rococo was a play on the word Baroque, but also it refers to the French words for rocks and shells. Shells forms that appeared as decorative motif in architecture, in furniture, and in painting. The Rococo's subjects and mood of art is slightly different from the Baroque, even though it is an extension of the Baroque. So like Baroque, Rococo is an extravagant, ornate style, but there are several points of contrast. So Baroque was an art of cathedral and palaces, and on the other hand, Rococo was more intimate and suitable for the aristocratic home and the drawing room. And Baroque is large in scale and massive, dramatic, and Rococo has a smaller scale and a light-hearted and playful quality. And let's see the examples. So the left one is Baroque style architecture and the right one is the Rococo style architecture. So these are all complicated, but can you find the differences between these two styles?
Light.
Light, that's right. Very good. What else?
Color.
Color, very good. I love that. So the Baroque style is dark, but grandeur. However, the Rococo style is bright, yes, and feminine and sophisticated.
Who is so sophisticated?
Huh? Was it a question?
I say, which one is sophisticated?
The right one, the Rococo style.
Okay.
Yes. And let's see the painting. The left one is the Baroque styles painting, and the right one is the Rococo style painting. So these two paintings are well using deep contrast lighting, but seems very different, right? What's the difference?
The background, one is darker than the other one.
Yeah, but the right one is also using the dark, dark shade.
Yeah.
But focus on the mood.
David is focused on only one person. The other one.
The mood, the emotional part.
Okay. Oh, I think the right one is dramatic.
Yes. Yeah.
And then the other one is emotion.
Uh-huh. That's right. Very good. What else? All right. So the most of Baroque art described biblical episode like this. And also very heavy and dark and serious. However, the Rococo's painting depicts daily life and nature of novels. And it shows light and bright and very lovely, the very lovely mood. And there is a video about lovely Rococo art in the model room. So please watch it for your understanding. So I hope you understand the different art styles by the art eras through this chapter. And we have a discussion today. Okay. So this is today's discussion. So the period of 17th and 18th centuries in Europe is called the Age of Colonial Settlement. The Spanish, Portuguese, the Dutch, and the English and the French had established a permanent settlement in North and South America. So read the e-textbook, page 496, and Slavery and Colonium in 18th Century Art. And discuss, there are two artworks, and discuss two artworks of in the e-textbook by tonight and reply to peers by tomorrow.
Professor, so the page 496 is related to what we just went over?
Not quite.
Okay.
Yeah, not quite.
So you want us to be able to see differences?
Yes, just to write about your thinking. That's what I want. Do not copy any resources, any information from the internet, that's not what I want. Okay, if you do that, you will get 0 point for that. Okay,